On this week's show, how to estimate your build costs.
In the news, we're going to be discussing the Mafia-style cartel that took Berkshire by storm.
Wow, that sounds very exciting. And we're going to be answering all your property-related questions. Welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an upload. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Enjoy this week's show and don't forget to share it with all your friends. Hi, I'm Russell Leeds.
I'm Alasdair Cunningham.
And welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. On this week's show, we've got the Mafia thing. Sounds exciting.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's just a news article where we'll get to it. You have to be patient.
So what have you been up to? Have you had a good week?
Yeah, it's a good week. I've just been back to the chiropractor, have some more bones cracked, get rid of some more hot air. That's it, mate. I've just been chilling out a little bit, a bit of last minute Christmas shopping.
Well, this is actually going out after Christmas, but we're actually filming this before Christmas. So Christmas is coming up like now in the next couple of days.
I went to Selfridges yesterday to do a bit of Christmas shopping for my girls. It's just like, how much? I can say this because it'll be out afterwards. They've already got the presents. Like my daughter wanted a pair of trainers, right? And I'm like, trainers, 60, 70 quid. I didn't even look at the price, okay? Now, she sent me a picture of them. So I went in and she said, you can only get them at Selfridges or something like that. So I went in Selfridges and I said to the guy, I want a pair of them. And he went, what size? And I said, size 4. So he went and he got them, went to the till and he rung them up. How much do you think? And I was thinking 60, 80, maybe even maximum £100.
Okay. What brand were they?
Alexander McQueen.
I've never even heard of that brand.
Same, mate. I've never heard of them. Look, News sitting there like shaking his head because he's obviously heard of them. He's like hip and young.
Alexander McQueen.
Alexander McQueen's how much?
Oh, are they like Gucci expensive? They are. Okay, 550 quid.
No, not quite. 360.
360.
Yeah, and I was like, how much? And I said, is that for one pair or like 5? And
that's per shoe.
She was like, do you want laces with that as well? And
how much are the laces?
No, I'm only kidding. It was 360 quid. And then I also bought her a Gucci belt. Like a belt, mate. A little bit of leather strap.
I bet that was 500 quid or something.
It was not cheap. It was about 380 again. So I did spend a little bit of money on my children for Christmas. I don't normally go crazy, but
does she usually wear like Alexander McQueen and Gucci or?
Not if she's got to pay for it. No,
Primark.
No, she's very fashionable. But
is this your younger daughter?
No, it's Yasmin. So my youngest, I got. She's been wanting a laptop for several years. She's 13, so she's been wanting a laptop for a long time. So. I bought her a cheap old. You know what children are like? When you give them a laptop, they generally crash it because they download all sorts of games and rubbish. But I think she's at an age now where she can look after something properly. So I ended up just buying her a MacBook, and she's got a MacBook, so that's her present.
Oh wow!
I'm a good dad. I'm a big softie at heart, mate.
Spoiling them, right?
I'm a big softie at heart, I tell you.
Spoiling them. I wonder what you're gonna get me. I'm excited now. Now I know the level of gifts.
Are we doing presents?
You know what? No, I'm going to take yours back. That's it. Oh. I'm disgusted.
I better go. What have you been up to?
Well, I've just been working. I don't really do the Christmas shopping. Anna kind of sorts all that out.
Yeah, I don't have that privilege. But.
I have to buy for one person.
Yeah.
Anna.
Yeah.
Other than that, she does it all for me. So.
Do you know where else I went last week, actually? I went up to Bicester Village.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. In fairness, I went to... I love Hugo Boss.
You've got a Hugo Boss store there.
Yeah.
How cheap is the stuff?
Do you know, I got probably £1,200 worth of stuff.
For about 500.
580.
Yeah.
And I bought 2 pairs of jeans. I bought a lot of kit, mate. Really good stuff, and it's all Hugo Boss, and I like it.
And they've got an Armani, they've got a Ralph Lauren, it's brilliant.
I went up there with our boy Ricky.
I got this from there.
Did you?
Yeah.
I went into the Polo, but I couldn't see anything in there that I wanted to buy. I wanted to go and buy a couple of I like Ralph Lauren Polo trainers. I've got a couple of white pairs of them. I really love them.
I've got a couple of pairs.
And I went back and I couldn't find the ones I want, but I think that's because they're too modern. Because the stuff is about a year out of date. Because it's obviously it's outlet. It's all the stuff they've not been able to sell. But it's bargains. Yeah, bargains.
Brilliant.
So. Good.
Anyway, enough about Christmas shopping. I'm sure that everyone's had plenty enough of Christmas by the time they're watching this. So we're talking about I forgot what was the main subject of this show. I know that I really should know that. It was
refurbs.
How to
calculate estimated build costs.
Do you know? I mean, it's such an important thing to be able to do. So let's assume, set the scenario here. You decide you want to do buy, refurbish, refinance.
Yeah.
Right. We've talked about that a lot on the last few shows, so I hope you guys.
It's very hot at the minute.
It is. A lot of people are very interested in it. So you go along to the house.
Yeah.
3 figures you need to know. That's it. Three figures.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. The purchase price.
All the acquisition costs. Yeah.
Right. You need to know the done up value.
Yeah.
And you need to know the refurb costs.
Yeah.
Now, the purchase price, you can find out very easily by looking at the asking price or making an offer and working like that. The done-up value, bit more research, but you can do that online, comparisons, you can get a valuer in, etc.
Yeah.
How do you know the refurb cost? Now, obviously, you can get someone in to come have a look at it, but you can't be doing that on every single one.
So let me take it to you from a beginner's point of view. If you've got no experience,
let me pretend that I'm an absolute dummy.
Okay, then
won't be hard.
You need to. Until you get used to doing this, you need to be taking somebody who knows what they're talking about with you. Now I'm very fortunate because although I've only been investing in property for 2.5 years,
you were in the trade.
I've been in and amongst all my family are in the building trade. My dad's been in houses since he was 16. And he's now 60.
Big rough hands.
So I've been around houses.
These are typist hands.
No. Pen pushing.
Money hands.
Paper clips, staplers, that's what they are. Right. No, I've been around houses since I was like 6 years old. So I remember being on building sites with my dad, and you get a very good idea of how much things cost. You get a very good idea of what's needed to be done. So I'm fine with that side of things, and I can work them out. And I'm generally very close, within £1,000 or within £500. I'm generally very close. So what you need to be doing is you need to be taking a builder with you, somebody that can accurately give you a price of what things will cost. And pick their brains. Like, I know that a standard sort of 3-4 bedroom HMO, or like let's say a 3-bed house that you'd make into a 4-bed HMO, generally, okay, so you're going to have 3 bedrooms upstairs, a bathroom, downstairs 2 receptions, kitchen, maybe a utility room, maybe a downstairs bathroom. I know I can get that painted. Like, the way I would go around and assess all the walls, okay, so that here the wall's nice and flat, okay. So I would know that it needs minimal filling work. It doesn't need much filling work. There's no real damage. So I know that I can get my painters and decorators in, £1,200. They'll paint the whole house, including all the woodwork, all the walls, and the ceilings for £1,200.
What about if
I supply the paint?
What about if the wall was rough?
Now, if the wall's rough, and you can get away with just a light plaster, then roughly £150 per room. I just know that. Now, people will argue with me about this. Bring it on, right? You might pay more than that. I don't. And my team are very good.
Every time you ever quote prices,
everyone argues with me.
Everyone argues.
They're all like, you can't get it for that. And I'm like, yeah, you can't. But I can. And the guys I use, they're doing a very good job. They're not, it's not like they're just getting a bucket of paint and throw it. They're not throwing it together. Do you know what I mean? Like they know how to cut in.
Okay, so let's average like £1,500.
Let's just £1,200 to £1,500 depending on the house
to paint it. If we can give people some rough figures for some of the okay. So you go in the bathroom.
Bathroom, yeah.
Right, bathroom sucks.
Okay.
You think
worst case. For a standard bath, shower cubicle, toilet, sink, and tiling, all that sort of stuff. £2,750.
Because things like the floor
maximum
is really cheap, isn't it?
Yes.
And obviously the painting we've just included.
Yeah.
So floor, painting, curtains, that's all really cheap. It's pretty much just a bathroom suite.
Yeah. But when you get, we'll cover it in a minute. But when you get creative and you start shopping around, at the end of the day, this is a business. This is an investment. Treat it like a business. Treat it like an investment. So you don't be buying your stuff from B&Q. Don't be. Shop smart.
Sometimes the actual bathroom suite's okay. It's everything around it that's awful.
I bought a property for an investor, and we originally said, look, it needs a new bathroom. But when our team went in there, it turns out the bath was absolutely fine. The sink was fine. All they done was change the toilet, and then they just retiled, and actually looked like, and retiled new taps, new bath panel. It looked like a brand new bathroom suite, and it saved like £200. My point being is you need to be creative, okay? So I know you can paint a house top to bottom to a good standard. Now, we're not talking about like a 5-star A1 standard. We're talking about a good standard, okay?
Yep.
With minimal repairs for £1,200 to £1,500, depending on the size of the house, okay?
So 1,500. So let's say 1,500. Let's say to be average, £2,000 for the bathroom.
Yep.
1,500 for the painting. So
Yep.
£3,500. Kitchen,
depending on
you
the
can
size.
spend what you want on the kitchen.
Okay. 10 units, 10 units and worktops. You can get installed for about between £3,000 and £3,500
For the whole kitchen.
For the whole kitchen,
including the oven.
Yeah.
And everything. 3,500.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've done it, mate, and people will argue with me.
I would have said 5.
3, but it depends on the size, depends on the quality of the goods you want in there. I would say 3.5 to 4.5 max.
But you can spend what you want, can't you?
You can spend whatever
like
you
my
want.
coffee machine. I didn't buy it; it was built in the house. My coffee machine is $3,000.
Yeah, well, okay, you're not going to put that in a rental property.
No, but what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
on a kitchen, you literally can. You could spend $70,000.
Yeah, but
if you
the
wanted
thing
to.
is, with things like that, you need to start shopping around. So we recommend, and then we're not affiliated in any way to this company.
But we do get a cut, so order from them. we don't.
But LNPG, Landlord National Purchasing Group, you have to pay like £300 a year to be a member, but you get like stupid discounts, like 70% off certain kitchens. Boilers you can buy. I don't know if the offer's running at the minute, but about 5 months ago, you could buy a Worcester boiler, which is like £2,000 for about £700. Now that's a big saving, yeah. You can buy things like your copper piping a lot cheaper than you buy anywhere else. So LNPG, Landlord National Purchasing Group, it's about £300 to join over the year, but it depends on how many properties you own, and you get massive savings. So a couple of tips for when you're trying to save a little bit of money here. Don't just say to a builder, look, you go in, you do it all, you buy everything. You should really be a little bit more hands-on at this point. If you're trying to save money, you should be a bit more hands-on. Perhaps you order the stuff, or you give him your discount card and you tell him that's where you want him to order it. But certainly, bathroom and kitchen, let's just... kitchen, kitchen go 4.5k max. I wouldn't pay any more than that.
4.5. We're going for 3 for the bathroom.
2.5 to 3 for the bathroom.
So 3, 4.5, 7.5, 1.5 for the painting. We're on 9.
So we're at 9. And then carpets. I've got 4 houses where I've put carpets throughout, and the maximum I've paid, and this is not for cheap carpet either, it's for decent carpet with good underlay. Good carpet, not cheap carpet, good carpet.
You shouldn't skimp on the underlay.
No, do not skimp on the underlay, and do not skimp on the carpet. Was about £1,300, and they're both both decent sized HMOs.
If you're doing it to sell, would you skimp on the carpet and the underlay then?
I would never skimp. You don't need to, because you're going to save a couple £100. Come on, right? But it's that feeling of like what I will say is one of my HMO has a little bit of a commercial feel to it. It doesn't have that homely feel, and that's the first one I'd done. I did try and scrimp on the carpet, so I went with the advice of the carpet fitter. He said, "No, just go with this one. Hard wearing, it will last forever." And I wish I went for the slightly better quality one, because it does. When I've been there, I've not been there for a long time, but when I go there, it's like you're going into like an office block. It's just a bit
like this.
Yeah, it's a bit like this. It's a little bit industrial, a little bit sort of commercial, and I wish I'd just gone a little bit more expensive. But listen, the price between good quality and bad quality is not much.
What about things like because obviously that's all sort of not furnishings, but it's all the soft features, the stuff that you can see. What about things like windows need double glazing?
Yeah, you can
boiler,
electrics. I had a boiler replaced about 3 weeks ago on one of my HMOs. We got it fixed, but it failed within about 3 days. So I just said, look, get a new boiler done. And that was I got them to do everything because I was busy and I couldn't be bothered with it. So I said, you sort it out. It was changed within 24 hours. The invoice for that was £1,150.
No, that's just about £1,000.
It's about £1,000, mate. Yeah. It's not that much, and that was for a decent quality boiler. Rewire, depending on it. All this is subjective to the house. Typically 5,000. will cost you for a consumer unit and a rewire. But then you've got the additional works of if they have to rewire, they might have to cut into the walls to run trunking. So then you've got the decoration costs on top. So the first thing you should do whenever you take on a buy, refurbish, refinance, before you do anything,
is
get the electrical tested. Yeah. Electrical and the plumbing system. Because obviously all the pipes, all the wires have to go behind the walls and the ceilings under the floors. So if things have got to be ripped up, do that before you do anything else.
It's like the road work people, isn't it? Where they come and they dig up the road to fix the gas.
Yeah.
But then when they're doing that, they knock the electric out and then they re-tarmac it, and then 2 weeks later the electric people are digging up the same road.
You've got to be very creative and very methodical about how you go about this project. Like for me, a project I've gone through at the minute with this this property that we talked about last week. The first thing I'll do before I do anything, I'll empty the house. All the crap will be brought out of the house. All the rubbish that's lying around, any walls that I've got to get taken down will be taken down. Then I'll have a full electrical integrity check done, and I'll take advice from an electrician about that. I'll then have a plumbing system check to make sure all there's no damage to any pipe work. There's no bodging. What you find in some buy refurbish deals, that if somebody's had a go at fixing something, like especially plumbing, last thing you want to do is do all the work and then you have a leak. So I would get them to do a full integrity check of all things such as plumbing, electrical system, boiler, radiators.
But how would you check
consumer unit?
If you're just having a little wander around to see, does this house need rewiring? What would you be looking for?
Consumer unit. Check the consumer unit. You want to see the condition of it. Check things like how clean is it in there. And what I mean by clean, I don't mean is it like you can eat your dinner off it. I mean, what's the wiring like? Is it tidy? Is it tied up? Is it all loose and rattly and wiggling about? Try and look at the colour of the wiring. Can you tell it's been on there for a long, long time? If it's got the old style push-in blade fuses, you're done. You're going to have to get a rewire. It's very, very likely. You're certainly going to have to change a consumer unit to pass landlord testing nowadays.
And they've changed the colours, haven't they? The earth and all that. So you can give an idea.
You are going to have to change the consumer unit. It's very, very likely you're going to have a rewire because the wiring is probably 20, 30 years old. At least. So that's not going to be strong enough to cope with the new consumer unit. And then by the time you start adding things like fire alarm system, you're overloading, so you're going to need to upgrade the systems. Roof's a good thing, good thing to check for. Again,
just look at, you can kind of just tell with the general condition going.
You can
like when I went to Ribersford, I looked at it and I was like, the roof,
where is it?
There's a massive hole in it.
I thought
there's probably a problem with that roof. I just used my intuition,
and
I could just sort of tell.
Yeah, you just
you get an eye for those sort of things.
Yeah,
when there's not a roof there, you kind of think that roof needs replacing.
Did you write it in your notebook? A roof's got a few issues.
Yeah, I did.
Roofs are. I'm glad you brought that up. The first thing you should be doing when you go to look at a buy, refurbish, refinance is arrive there early. Try and get as far back from the property as you can because you want to get a good look at the roof line. Now, so look between the eaves, and if there's a sagging, you want to be investigating that. Now, you will get settlement between the eaves because of there's 2 points. You've got something, so you will get natural settlement. So don't be put off by it. But if it's bad, you need to be looking at it. Look for damp parts in the roof, in the tiling system. Look for missing tiles.
Damp in general, actually.
Damp in general,
you can take those, what they call...
Damp meters, hold on, we'll get there. Sorry, bro. Right, on the fascia boards, check for the condition of the fascia boards. Is the guttering straight or is it hanging? All this stuff is cost, okay? And it gives you an overall general idea of the condition of the property. And then come down the house, look at the brickwork. Is all the brickwork straight? Is it in line? Is there any cracks? Is there any sort of severe cracks that you need to be considering and looking at?
Is the house sinking?
Is the house sinking? That's a funny story. Okay, house sinking. You want to be aware of that. Is it leaning to one side? You
just have a look at it, and if you can see it's clearly sinking, don't buy it.
Don't buy
especially at auction.
Yeah, especially at auction. And then come down the house. Look at the windows. Are the windows steamed up? Are the windows leaking? Is there like a dampness in the brickwork underneath a window, for instance? Because brickworks hold water. Brick sometimes holds water, so you can see a discoloration, things like that. Looking for things like that, and then come down. And then when you go inside the property, take a damp meter. A damp meter, you can get them on Amazon for about £20. 2 little electric probes that come out. It checks for the dampness in the walls, and it beeps at you and gives you a percentage reading. You want to be checking everywhere, behind cupboards, anywhere that you think might be damp. Now, you're going to have to start using your nose a little bit, because when you go in a house, you can smell damp. So if it smells damp, if it smells musty, if it smells like just a bit off, get your damp meter out and start tapping walls. So you get a nice solid tap. With damp, you don't get that. You get a bit of a duller tone. And just generally having a good look around the property. Now, in the beginning, you want to be taking somebody that knows how to price this sort of stuff up. Once you get used to that and you've had enough quotes and enough interaction, you'll get an idea of how much things cost. So you'll know how much it costs to get a house painted. You'll know how much it costs to get carpets. And roughly,
how do I find? Let's say there's me, right? Okay. And I'm watching this show for the first time, and I don't know anything, and I'm 20 years old. And I haven't got a friend who can go. Okay. Who do I take?
Okay, so give. The way we teach it is you're going to find an area, you're going to dominate a patch. In that area, there's letting agents that you're going to get to know, you're going to become friends with. That letting agent will have builders, and as long as you're going to give them work, and as long as you're going to use them, most builders generally for free, they'll come out and give you a quote, or they might charge you a small inspection fee of 50 quid or whatever, just for their time.
Well worth it.
Well worth it.
The other thing you can do, and they'll usually have an idea, and they'll usually be reasonably honest with you as well, is you can ask the estate agent.
Yes.
And they'll give you a really good idea of what needs doing, how much it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, do you know one thing that does concern me is I see so many people online, wherever, and they're out buying deals, and they're like, they put photographs up of the property, and they're putting down figures of it needs a 40 grand refurb, and I'm like, 40 grand? Are you crazy? Like, I've never spent more than 20 on a refurb, like never. And
right now I'm spending 2 million, so.
Well, yeah, this is slightly different. That's that's a big old refurb. But my point being, on a residential 4, 5, 6 bedroom HMO, I've never spent more than 20k on any. None of my investors have, and I personally haven't. So when I'm seeing people with these 40 grand refurbs, I'm like, what? It's just bizarre. And I've done some big refurbs that I've had back to brick, full all the works. Plumbing system, moving on, adding on suites, all that sort of stuff, and yeah, it's you just got to shop around.
You do,
and don't be scared to find another builder, and certainly shop around when it comes to materials. That's where my biggest saving comes from: shopping around for materials. Buying kitchens in the right place, buying boilers in the right place, and one thing I will say with materials: don't buy cheap. You'll buy twice, trust me. So door handles are a good example. Do not buy cheap door handles, because believe me, you will buy twice. Don't buy cheap taps or water systems, like taps and bathroom taps, kitchen taps.
You'll buy twice. Well, don't they, when you
feel cheap, they'll block up within months. You'll be changing them. Just buy not necessarily expensive, but buy good quality taps and water equipment.
There you go. Make sure that you don't buy cheap, because you'll buy twice. And on that bombshell, it's now time for this. So, in the news this week, we have a very interesting article about what you were saying, some sort of mafia, or what is it?
Mafia-style cartel. So basically, the watchdog has fined 3 agents over £600,000 in a cartel mafia case.
Explain.
Essentially, the Competition and Markets Authority have released this update with the state agency Cartel in Berkshire. So in June, the CMA found that 4 agents were provisionally guilty of breaking competition laws. I'm not going to name them. The alleged cartel took place over a period of almost 7 years, from September 2008. And what they were doing was they were fixing the commission rates in the whole of Berkshire, so everyone charged the customers the same, and obviously it's against competition rules. So basically, it says here that for almost 7 years, the 4 companies conspired to set a minimum commission rate for the sale of residential properties in Wokingham, Winnersh, Crowthorne, Bracknell and Warfield. These were the leading estate agents at the time. This involved the firms exchanging confidential information on pricing and holding meetings to make sure that all members enforced and maintained the agreed rates. The result was that local homeowners were denied the chance of securing the best possible deal when selling their properties because they were unable to meaningfully shop around the local agents for better commission rates.
That shocks me that you're not allowed to do that.
Well, it's against competition rules, isn't
Is it?
So, yeah. Well, it's cartel, isn't it? It's cartels. So you're not. It's like.
But they could go to people other than those four.
But these were the main ones.
Yeah, I'm shocked you're not allowed to do that.
Is what it is. I didn't make the law. But it's like this happened a few years ago with bread. I don't know if you ever knew about this, but all the bread makers, actual like loaves of bread, all the manufacturers like Hovis, Warburtons or whatever, they got together and they had a minimum bread price, but you couldn't buy it anywhere else because they were trying to push the price up. So they all got together and they all agreed that the minimum they would charge is X, and nobody would go any less than that. And as a result, the CMA, Competition and Market Authority, they all got fined massively for it because it wasn't fair. It was against the CMA rules. But they all got fined, and it happened with milk. All the farmers got together and they were told they weren't allowed to do it because it's against the rules. They all got fined. So it does happen a lot.
But it only takes one farmer to be like, well, I'm not doing it, and then they undercut everyone.
Yeah, but it is what it is. I mean, that's the news article. Each of the agencies were all fined over 150. One of them was fined 270.
Wow.
Yeah, so
there you go. It sounded really exciting, and then it turned into something. I'm like, is that even a crime? I'm so shocked it's a crime.
Yeah.
And find like if I did that, if I was like to you, like, hey, I'm selling deals, just like deals. Let's neither of us sell them under $2,000 just to keep, and then we got fined like £270,000. I'd be like, what the hell?
It is what it is, man. I don't make the rules up. It's just this is what's there. So it's
seems crazy to me.
Anyway,
it's now time for this. Okay, so it's now time for your questions and answers. The first question is from Travel Players. He says, or she says, when turning a front living room to a bedroom and using rear access for entry, how do you resolve the issue of post knocking and generally rearrange the room so the front door is not so obvious?
That's an interesting question, actually, when you think about it.
Do you know, out of all the HMOs, I've never done it in any of my own. In all the HMOs I've ever managed, I've only ever had it once where they used the rear door and the front door was the entrance to someone's bedroom.
What was it? I've never seen it, to be honest.
Normally what you do, let's say like, it's hard to explain. Let's say you got your front door's normally to the left.
Yeah.
Or the right, whatever. And then you got the bedroom there. You normally add in an extra wall.
Okay.
Don't you? So it's like a corridor.
Yeah.
And then you turn what's left into the bedroom. What sometimes people do, is what he's talking about, is if the front door is straight onto an open room, they turn that into a bedroom, and they get all the other tenants to go in through the kitchen,
the back door,
through the back.
Whatever. But so the question was, how can you stop it so the post doesn't go through there? Like, so
you could put a post box on the wall.
Like, generally, the postmen all work the same areas, so the post guy will know very quickly that that's not the main entrance, or just make sure there's no letterbox. Block off the letterbox so they can't put any through, so the post doesn't go in the front room.
I'd put a post box.
Put a physical post box.
You could take the letterbox off.
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
And block the door up.
And put a post box. Or that's what you'd have to do, actually, isn't it?
Yeah,
Otherwise, all the posts go to that person's
I've never
bedroom.
come across it. But yeah, let us know how you get around that.
And maybe put a sign up going main entrance round the side.
Through the back, just get a little plaque made up that you put on the door or something like that.
Because
okay.
One of the houses I actually lived at, interestingly enough, we used to use the back door. Because the drive was by the back door.
Okay, so you just
so we never used the front door. So.
Okay, next question is from Kyle Race. Can a neighbour close down your service accommodation apartment? Will you get warnings first before a potential fine or told to stop? Now, this is something I've not got any direct experience from.
I have.
Have you? Okay, go on.
So, wasn't me. One of my friends set up a service accommodation unit.
Okay.
Neighbours complained.
Yeah.
And the landlord was like, "Sorry, I'm getting too much crap, and I have to
Yeah, you have to move out. I did have some issues with the place in Oxford, because
they were moaning about the parking, didn't they?
Yeah, where our place in Oxford is very, very tight for parking.
It's not tight. It's freaking ridiculous. How I got my GLE.
Yeah,
it's a big car.
It's a big car.
How I got it in there, I do not know.
Anyway, it's very, a little bit tight. Yeah, a good driver wouldn't struggle. It's ridiculous. Anyway, right. So, and all the people that live in the house now, they're all old, right? So, I've got this service accommodation cottage there, which works good. It's a decent place. But the neighbours were getting, because they're there all day, they're a little bit busybody. They're like, somebody new turns up at the blinds wanting to know what's going on. And we had a few issues with the neighbours complaining where guests would turn up and they would just abandon their car and park wherever. And you know what busybodies are like, and old people are like, they're like, well, that's my parking space, you can't park there.
But it isn't their parking space.
I know it's not, but
it's
that's
like
how
just
in
a road.
their head, that's how they're thinking, because that's where they've always parked. So we used to always get letters put through the door. People say like really angry letters from the neighbours and that. And all I used to do, and I still do, is my cleaner has a relationship with the neighbour now. And we just take him a bottle of wine every couple of... We just get him pissed. take him a bottle of wine, he forgets about it, and chocolates. And we're very active. We're talking to him, making sure there's no problems. And whenever the cleaner goes there, every couple of weeks, he'll if he sees him outside, he'll say, how you doing? Has there been any problems that you need to tell us about? Can we do anything to make sure it's easier for you? Or please do let us know if there's any issues. We've not much issue. But I do know a person who's got a property in Cambridge, and he's actually had to give it back. Same thing. The neighbours didn't like it. They were very... it
depends on the landlord, doesn't it?
Yeah, they were
very... The neighbours have got no right.
They've got no right.
But if they give the landlord enough stick, he might just go, this isn't worth it.
Yeah, the neighbours could go to the council as well. And if there's like excessive noise and all that sort of stuff, and then the landlord can get a bit of grief from the council. So yeah, it's just one of these, isn't it? You just have to... see what happens, work it out. But to answer your question, can a neighbour stop your service accommodation? No, but they can make your life a living hell. They can make it so they complain a lot and the council then get involved.
And potentially. They can't, but what they can do is they can draw people who can.
Yeah, they can cause you a lot of waves and cause you a lot of issues. So just try and be on good terms with the neighbours. Dropping them a box of chocolates every now and again doesn't hurt if you're on them sort of terms. So
brilliant, great question. Well, guys, thanks ever so much for tuning in. We'll be back next Saturday at 7 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, love.
Give us some love.
Give us some love. We'd appreciate that. Thank you very much, guys. And we'd start the right newsreaders, but with iPads.
Okay, hold on. Yeah. Yep.
See you next week.
And we have to have a... See you next week.